Hello everybody, welcome to Amakhosi Venture this Salon Show. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Welcome back. Over the weekend I found an sadly interesting video. Kind of like disturbed me. And it really challenged me in a sense that I then had to think of my words that I say. But also, unfortunately, business is business. Sometimes you have to put your emotions aside and support the player as much as possible. But at the end of the day, we employed someone based on what they're giving us or what they should be giving us on the field of play. And when I looked and listened or read this article about Mashian, it moved me. It moved me because it then raised questions of mental illness, things that you don't talk about. And I think because they're in the space, these guys are in the space of being entertainers, and therefore we don't really care how they feel. We want to see what they give us in the field of play. But also the human side of me says that these guys are going through a lot. And sometimes because they don't let us in their space, and once they let us in their space, it becomes very, very tricky. Like in this case, it's very tricky what I'm hearing. And I think as men, we don't really talk. Oh, probably we do talk because there's this guy by the name of, his real name is Mlungisi. He speaks on his podcast is called That Husband, Blackborn Newborn. So one of the interviews he did, he was talking to this other lady from Mapaseka from, sorry about that. He was talking to this guy Mapaseka from what was this ETV series, soapy series? I forgot the name, but I was playing ETV at 6:30. I forgot, but yeah, that lady there was always like, yep. But yeah, in real life, she looks like she's a cool person. But yeah, she said that it's not that men don't talk. Men do talk. The difference then is vulnerability. Men, they do talk. You look at the number of books that are written, mainly or most, it's about men. You look at all these other things that are out there, mainly it's men. Men, they do talk, whether it's being presenters, whether it's writing books, whether it's radio stations, whether, like, you name it, men, they do talk. But he said something at Newport. He then says something very interesting. He said that the thing is that men are being vulnerable, but vulnerable not to everyone. You can't expect me to be vulnerable to you when you're not my wife. And I was like, okay, what does it mean? And then he says that I can be transparent to you, but being vulnerable, that's not for you. That's for my wife. Because I can allow you to see what is happening inside my house, being transparent. But in terms of touching the furniture and all, that's different. That's the space for my wife. And I was like, this is so interesting. So interesting. So we are finding ourselves in a situation, or rather, let me say this guy, he's finding himself, Mashian's finding himself where now he's being transparent and he's being vulnerable to a certain extent, I believe, because he's telling us how he feels, how that CAF final affected him. The red card that he got against the team Al Ahly that was coached by Peter Musimane at the time when they beat us in the final. He still speaks about that. He still says that is still hurting him to this day. Then my question is, and now us men, let's come back to us men. Us men, we don't like counseling. As I said, we don't like being vulnerable, as Black Newborn said. How many of us go to counseling? How many of us seek help? I mean, even if we can be injured, sometimes we will hide from our spouses or we'll hide it from whoever. Even if at work they can do something or say something, most of us will find it hard to be transparent or come back to our spouses to tell them what happened, because we want to understand what happened and then internalize that thing, and then probably later, after some time, then we open up. So this guy is crying for help, and I believe that Kaizer Chiefs have found him counseling, psychologists. I believe that psychologists also or counseling can work as much as you allow them to work or to help you. But how many of us as men go to counseling to speak to people, to be vulnerable in front of people, to say that this is how I feel, this is how this thing makes me feel. Sometimes I hate playing football, for example. Sometimes I hate waking up. I don't even want to wake up at times because I feel like I've let down myself and I've let down those whom I love or who love me. So he's crying, and I believe that in his crying, it's him acknowledging where he's at. They say the first step in healing is to acknowledge how you feel or the fact that you are hurt. So let's not take lightly what he said. You can say whatever that you want to say when he plays on the field of play, but now that you are, or he's revealing himself or opening himself up as a human being to you, then how you think it should be different. So it says, let me read this article. It's like an interesting heading article. I don't know where it's written, but I found it in the book of, I found it in the page of Amakhosi for Life. I don't know who runs that. Happy Mashian has said, I no longer trust myself after ruining Kaizer Chiefs' chances of winning a CAF Champions League. This is sad because, from the title, it's sad because this guy is probably looking at our neighbors, nosy neighbors, Sundowns, Pirates, and said, these guys, they have stars. For us who don't have stars, could have been could have been part of the first team to win a star for Kaizer Chiefs. But I find it, I'm responsible for that. And I say that it's been a long time. This guy needs to forgive himself. Here's something about the devil. Those of you who are spiritual will relate. The devil, he capitalizes on your vulnerability and he hits you there. He hits you where he knows that you are weak. And he condemns you. And there's nothing as hard as condemnation, guys. Where you self-blaming yourself, or when you're self-blaming yourself. When you look at yourself, you criticize yourself, you call yourself a failure, that you'll amount to nothing. Or keep on playing those words that you grew up hearing, that you'll amount to nothing. Keep on playing those words that you are a fool, you are stupid, and all those things. Mashian could not just be fighting the fact that he got the red card in that game, but it could be fighting our past, or his past rather. Saying that he grew up probably not being affirmed. He grew up being that person, probably was told that he's a fool, who amounts to nothing, why he doesn't go to school, why he doesn't finish qualification, and. Then now he's blaming himself. So now on top of the weight that he carried, he's adding this weight. So it's not going to be easy for him to heal. Unless he accepts that things they do happen, mistakes they do happen, and move on from there. Forgive himself so that he doesn't give the room for the enemy, so that he can stop the enemy, which is the devil, from hurting him even more and condemning him even more and reminding him, you did this, you did this, you did this, you are the reason, you are the reason. He needs to shut down that voice. He needs to shut down that voice. So Kaizer Chiefs winger Mashian has opened up about the pain he went through after his red card in the 2021 CAF Champions League final against Al Ahly. Mashian, who was sent off just before halftime for the reckless challenge, admitted that that moment changed everything for him, both on and off the field. After the red card, I honestly lost myself and my confidence. Mashian said, I know that decision cost us big chance to win the first Champions League trophy. We had to work so hard to get to that stage, but in that moment, everything collapsed and it still hurts. The youngster explained that he struggled mentally in the weeks that followed, and as it became the target of mixed reactions from the fans. Some fans texted me with encouragement, but others were angry and blamed me for the loss. I can't lie, it got to me. I was still young and I did not know how to deal with the kind of pressure. I felt like I let my teammates, the coaches, the whole Kaizer Chiefs family down. Mashian believes that that moment was a tough lesson in football for him in life. I've learned that football is not only just about talent, but also about mental strength. That final changed me. I don't want to ever feel like that again. Sorry about that, guys. Let me repeat this. I've learned that football is not only about talent, but also about mental strength. That final changed me. I don't want to ever feel like that ever again. So I'm working on myself every day. One day, I want to help Kaizer Chiefs to win big trophies we missed out on. It's a very sad story. This is a very sad story. And sometimes I believe that he can find his healing elsewhere. Why? Because even some of the fans, they can still look at him that way. Not saying that Kaizer Chiefs should just throw hands on him and say that we did all that you could, you costed us and whatnot. But sometimes you find your healing elsewhere. This is why that you find that one man's loss becomes one man's treasure, as they say. So he might find his healing elsewhere. There are guys who've been mistreated in their teams, but once they leave, new environment, new pressure, new everything, then they get their healing. I don't know what happened between Parity and Basekamako, but I think Basekamako or even Monyane, they are playing their best football. Some could say ever, some could say that no, they are yet to get there, but I believe that they're in a happy environment. They don't make them forget about their injuries. So if you know Happy Mashian, somehow, or probably have him on social media, instead of saying negative things, rather you keep quiet. In terms of him letting the team down in 2021 final, rather keep quiet. Guys, we are going through a lot as men, and we can't afford to add salt in our wounds. Or you adding salt on another person or to another person. You can't. They say treat others as you'd want them to treat you. You reap what you sow. So be careful of the seeds that you're planting. Mashian, I wish you all the best. Whether you stay at Kaizer Chiefs or you leave, I wish you all the best. And I say to you that may you forgive yourself. Know that God loves you. God loves you. God does restore, and He's going to restore you. One day you look back and say that you're glad that you finished on the high. Whether that is in Kaizer Chiefs or away from Kaizer Chiefs, I wish you all the best. FC guys, Amakhosi fan channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.